Welcome.
Welcome. Good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. I'm Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson.
And I'm Shannon Penrod. Thrilled to be here with you.
It's good to be here with you. It's a very interesting show with Doreen.
Yes.
Learned
Did you
a
catch
lot.
some of it?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
It's great to have her back.
Yes,
but
it
great
is.
for all of us to be back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Took a little time off, but we're back. We've got a lot of stuff to cover today, including a great guest talking about a wonderful conference happening at the end of September.
With Love and Autism and a
Yes.
marriage.
Yes, they're going to have a wedding at the conference.
This is
Doesn't
so
get any more
cool.
lovey-dovey than that, right?
I know, this is like a big event. Remember when Luke and Laura got married on
Yes,
General Hospital?
I do.
Yeah.
It's at least the equivalent of that.
At least.
So very, very exciting. But we've got some in the news stuff to cover
Yes,
first.
yes.
First story, this has been all over Facebook.
Right.
The teen who was beaten up by bullies.
And I'm going to let you talk about this because I'll be in tears, I think.
And well, I
it
think
has a hopeful ending, but
yes, what's remarkable about it is that he was beaten so badly, and of course the pictures on Facebook show how badly he's beaten, and I think any parent has a hard time taking a look at the pictures.
I just have a hard time with this whole story.
Gavin Joseph is his name, and what he has done is said that he wants for his attackers to have to learn about autism, and has asked for them to have to watch a 20-minute video that he has made about what it's like to be him, and that this is part of their punishment, that they have to learn about who he is and what his life is like.
And they have to do community service.
It's
working with people with disabilities.
It's truly amazing that he, in the spirit of like, as a parent, if that happened to my son, I would be about vengeance, and people would have to talk me off the ledge, right?
Yeah.
But it's amazing that he has had the strength to say, I think what's important here is that you need to have some education, that this is about ignorance. I had said to you before we went live that what I see, we've seen so many of these stories in the last year covered in the news, and the common thread in all of them that tears at my heart is that in each one of these instances, the kids went with this group of attackers or bullies or abusers, whatever they ended up being, because they thought they were their friends.
Right. I'm just going to recap a little bit because we didn't really give the
particulars.
Yes. Gavin Joseph, who is a teenager with Asperger's, I believe out of Illinois, right?
Yes.
And he was tricked by a group of boys into thinking that they wanted to be friends with him, but then they violently attacked him because they felt his condition makes him weird and creepy. And so instead of asking that they be punished, Gavin asked that they be educated about his life and his condition, and that's when he asked that they write an essay, watch the video, as you mentioned, referenced, and undertake community service, and it's been all over Facebook. But yes, he was lured into the situation, and the mother said, Gavin is fine. He has a mild concussion, a bruised esophagus, the tip of his nose fractured, and a hematoma in his eye, but nothing permanent. I would not call that fine. I would call that a very traumatic experience. And when are parents going to learn to educate their children about differences and learn to educate their children about compassion? I asked this, whoever these children were, their parents, to me, should be charged with something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But amazing that this team has
We're very
decided
proud
gonna
of Gavin Joseph.
Yes. Amazing.
Sniffing test. This is an interesting thing. And you know what, as I was reading this, and if you want to give the main little story here, that a sniff test, right?
They're saying that it's 81% effective in diagnosing and detecting autism in children. 81%. You sniff something and they're able to diagnose autism.
And the reason is because children with autism don't seem to shy away from sniffing unpleasant things. And my son will sniff things and he has a lot of, Wyatt likes to sniff things and smell things. And
interesting.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Jem is on the opposite side of that he reacts bigger to smells.
Oh, really?
That, somebody else might smell something like, for instance, I love the smell of basil.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, fresh
Okay,
basil.
yeah.
I love to go to the farmer's market and get a bunch of basil and I pinch a leaf and go, oh, it just smells divine to me. And he's like, oh, it's torture to him.
Really?
It's, yeah,
Okay.
huge reaction. So
Interesting.
interesting. But the researchers examined 18 children diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, and the same number without the disorder. The subjects were exposed to 10 pleasant smells, such as shampoo, flowers, as well as 20 unpleasant smells, including rotten fish and sour milk. They found that children with ASD generated a typical adult-like sniff response, and that ASD children had a profoundly altered sniff response, sniffing equally regardless of odor valence. I don't know what that means. New word for the dictionary.
I think that's good, bad,
Okay.
and everything.
Bad mojo. So 81% accurate in predicting autism. We'll look forward to hearing more about that. We'll have people sniffing
Yes.
to be quicker,
Right.
cheaper to get a diagnosis.
And then some good news out of Georgia.
Yes.
Finally, Ava's Law has been passed unanimously after a 7-year effort by the Georgia General Assembly, which is requiring private insurance companies to cover ABA for the first time in the state's history. It becomes the 41st state to require coverage, but I was interested in seeing that it's only before the age of 6.
A lot of the states have different requirements and different rules and age caps and dollar amount caps. The thing that's really interesting about that is that sometimes, depending upon, there are 2 laws in particular that can overturn that. One is the Mental Health Parity Act. So a state can say, oh, we won't give this over the age of 6 and we won't pay over $100,000. But if in that policy it says anywhere that if the child had been, for instance, in a car accident and had mental health that would have allowed for this same thing without an age cap and without a dollar amount, then their age cap and dollar amount is null and void.
Oh,
so
good.
make sure that you talk to the officials in your state about what the true is. You may look it up and the state goes, oh, we don't pay past
Right.
that, but a lot of times that's not the case.
Okay.
And if there is something federally mandated, it goes over everything. So, but what is exciting about this is that it took effect last week. As of July 1st, those of you in Georgia, autism insurance is the law of the land. Check it out. Get yourself signed up for some good quality ABA.
Yes.
Chances are that it's going to be paid for at this point. And congratulations to everybody who worked
who
so hard
worked
on
so
Ava's
hard
law.
on that. Yeah.
7 years. That's why you stick it out.
And then a study that looks at a flip side of an issue we often talk about. We often talk about the stress and strain of autism on a marriage and the fact that many marriages dissolve because of that stress and strain. But there is actually now researchers at the University of Miami have come out. They have examined that couples that have actually had their bond strengthened because of autism spectrum disorder with one of their children.
And they looked at several different things to kind of predict, well, these are the characteristics of couples that stay together. So here are the characteristics. An individual's own strength predicted their own increased levels of relationship satisfaction. So if you are somebody who is a strong person, then you were more likely to think that your relationship was working well. Fathers and mothers did not differ in reporting partner support, optimism, or relation satisfaction. So it was important that both of them had to be on the same page. That if one parent was like, oh yeah, everything's going well, and the other one wasn't,
Right.
then not so much. I mean, that follows, right?
Right.
Mothers reported higher use of social and instrumental support coping than fathers. So if the mother was getting support, that was more likely that they were going to have strong couple.
Which I think is no surprise.
Right. Mothers reported greater levels of benefit finding compared to fathers. That they found the benefits. They tend to see the positive side of it, but that was a predictor of the couple working it out. More perceived partner support was highly related to partner satisfaction for mothers and fathers. So having the partner support for both of them. Greater satisfaction of one partner was related to greater satisfaction of the other. I do think my husband and I play this little game where one of us gets down and the other one is the champion, right? And then we'll reverse.
I think that's with every couple.
And try to pull
Right.
pull each
I know
other
when
up.
I get into a funk, Reed tends to rise to the occasion. I'm like,
Yeah.
why do I have to get into a funk before you step
Well,
up?
and my thing always is I'm always afraid that if we're both in a funk together, that everything's thing's going to slide into the
Yeah.
ocean, right? And it's
Right.
the thing that I'm most fearful of, is that both of us will slide, because one of us has to always be the person going, no, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little crazy.
Yeah, it's a balance for sure.
Well, and I know you guys have had extra stuff for
'cause
years.
my husband's cancer
Yes.
struggle has been on top of that, which
Yeah.
affects the autism.
Of
which
course,
affects,
and it affects everything.
Right. It's
Let's be
it's a
honest
very
about that.
interesting, balance.
But there you guys are together
Yeah.
and making it work,
Right.
and keeping a smile and making
Right,
it making
right.
it look good even when it's not.
Yes, and I do tend to be an optimist. I was raised by a father who was an extreme optimist. And interesting other study that I read the other day,
Yeah.
people that are chronically late,
Uh-huh.
which is me, because I'm always chronically 10 minutes late, and I've just, I've tried to change it. They've actually found that there's nothing wrong with them. They tend to be more optimistic than other people because they're trying to fit so much in and they think they can make it on time.
I like
so I
that.
sent that to a lot of my
I'm
friends
going
saying,
to crochet
see,
that on a pillow.
I'm going to send that link to you. It's a study they did.
You know that I'm chronically not on time.
Yes,
I
know.
I
You and I
suffer from
both.
this.
So,
let me
I
know.
mean, I've made an effort to improve that. But
Right.
if you're chronically late, it's not a bad thing. You're an optimist. You're a glass half full, not glass half empty, because you're trying to fit it all in.
I like that. And then our last in the news story, I'm sure you guys have been keeping track of some of the things that here in the state of California, a new law has been signed into effect, SB 277, and it is the law that says that children who are going to school need to be vaccinated. There are a bunch of codicils to it that we listed last week, but there's been a firestorm of reaction. A lot of it happening on Twitter. In particular this week, Jim Carrey found himself caught up in this. He stepped into it, we'll say that. He put out some tweets that were a little incendiary.
Yes.
And apparently included at one point a picture of a boy who his picture was online.
Yeah, Alex Eccles, who has severe autism.
And he's 14 years old, and we understand that what happened as a result of this, he has a particular type of genetic disorder that creates tumors that form in the body, primarily in the brain, eyes, heart, kidney, and lungs. It can be comorbid with autism. It is known as TSC, and
I'd never heard of it.
I had never heard of it either, and that's what a lot of people had never heard of it.
Yeah.
And because Jim Carrey posted the picture of him, it created a lot of attention around this particular disorder, which was greatly appreciated. However, Jim Carrey did not ask for permission to post the boy's picture. His parents were not thrilled about it and asked that he take the photo down. And a lot of the people in the community said that Jim Carrey should apologize, which he very publicly did on Twitter, which I think is admirable when you do something that, and I know a lot of us take pictures on the internet and do things, and we should think about it before we do it. And but Jim Carrey immediately apologized. He said, "I'd like to apologize to the Eccles family and others for posting a pic of their kids without permission. I didn't mean to cause them any distress." And the mother was quoted as saying, "It was so nice to get something from Jim Carrey." I think that was greatly appreciated. My reaction to it, I just want to say publicly, and I'll tweet this to Jim Carrey, if he wants a picture of a kid with autism, I'll be happy to give him permission to use my son's picture.
And I'm happy for you to use Wyatt's picture as well, Jim Carrey, if you'd like to use, if you need a poster child, we'll do it.
Yeah, I got a picture for Jim Carrey, not for anybody else. I like Jim Carrey. In any case, okay,
too.
we've got a great.
I'd like Wyatt and Jim to meet Jim Carrey, because I bet they'd have a ball with him.
Oh my gosh!
It was no shock to me that when he and Jenny McCarthy were together, that he loved Evan and got along with him so well, Jenny's son. Because can't you just imagine Jim Carrey with a child on the spectrum? How fun would that be? How much fun do you think he had?
And when you hear about his upbringing, there were a lot of kids in a home and not money, not even saying a lot of money. There was no money, and they entertained themselves. And he's just one of those goofy, off the wall that probably didn't fit in with the typical kids to begin with, right? He just has a different sense of fun, a different sense of how the world moves. So kind of love Jim Carrey. Yeah, so
I second that.
all right. Okay, so great guest that we have coming up. Jenny Palmietto is going to be with us from the Love and Autism Conference that's coming up at the end of September. They have a lot of different things at this conference, but this year they're having a wedding. Can we get an awe? So we're going to talk to Jenny about what's happening with that, why there's a Love and Autism Conference, and get some details, some insider details on the wedding. Stick with us.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. 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 Let's get wild.
Hey, welcome back to Autism Live. We heard you. Everybody wants
macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, but we're gonna make it allergy free. But here's what's the crazy part of this macaroni and cheese. It's actually healthy.
And it tastes good.
Yeah, it tastes really good.
That's the most important part.
So we're gonna start, we got our water boiling. There's so many variations on the pasta. We're using today a corn pasta. We can verify with the manufacturer that we have a GMO-free product. So let's go ahead and put that in there.
Ooh,
And if you don't mind, stir that up for me, my friend.
Now it's sticking a little bit to the bottom. Is that okay?
We maybe add a little more high heat oil and spread that around again. One thing you gotta know about gluten-free pasta, if you overcook this, it becomes mush. Let's move this guy over to the other burner so you can see what I'm doing. And now we're gonna start with the old macaroni and cheese sauce. What's great is there's a lot of choices for, different soups. And the way that I look at soups, and again, please follow the recipe on your screen right now. I don't like to measure very often. But what I like to use is a creamy butternut squash soup. So this soup is great because it adds a lot of flavor to the dish, but also gives people another serving of vegetables. With kids, we don't want to over season. Maybe with the adults, we can season some for the kids first, pull it out, serve them, and then add a little more, garlic powder or onion powder or other types of things into your dish. So the next most important thing on this recipe is we're going to add in a thickener and the faux cheese. Now some people like their sauce really thick, so you just add in more cornstarch or more arrowroot, so that's not a big deal. How's that doing? You think it's ready?
I think it's done.
Okay, so why don't we switch? I'll take that, you do that.
Okay.
And I'm going to strain this bad boy here. Here, let me turn that off.
Okay.
Or we're going to cause trouble again.
Trouble in Lisa's kitchen.
Yeah, no!
That's another show.
Don't, yeah, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get this all strained. It's a good consistency. So I'm going to check to make sure our pasta is cooked. So really you just want to make sure, just like any pasta, it's a little bit squeezy, a little bit. Nice. Dude, good job.
Hey.
We're good.
Looks yummy.
So even though the cheese is not totally melted, it's okay. Don't panic. What's important is that you're going to love this recipe once you eat it. What I enjoy most about this recipe is that it smells good, but this stuff is amazing. So if you don't mind, I'm going to serve you some up, and you can maybe blow a little bit on it so you don't burn your mouth. Sorry, I'm once a mom, always a mom.
Just like we tell our kids.
I know, right?
God, I can't wait. I'm excited.
So I'm going to give a shot of this too, but
Oh my gosh, that is so good.
this is the ultimate comfort food. So
Oh, it's so
isn't
good.
it good?
And I'm not just saying that. It is really good. It literally tastes like something our kids would really like. And that sweetness is really, really, really good.
So the bonus for us is that when we're serving this to our kids, they're actually getting a full serving of vegetables in this. So instead of just eating a bunch of carbs and worthless calories, you're actually getting some good stuff in this. And we'll be back next time. I hope you join us again here on Autism Live. We're really loving the feedback, and if you have additional feedback, here's how you get it to us. You can send it to us via email at autismlive@gmail.com. on Facebook, facebook.com/autism-live. And also there's thousands of recipes waiting for you to discover them with pictures and different things on the TACA website. So you can hit TACA on the web, tacanow.org, and we'll be back. Hopefully we'll get to do this again.
I had so much
Maybe
fun.
we'll have a little wine, but you got to join us next time. We'll look forward to seeing you then.
Bye guys, we're gonna keep eating.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild.
And we're back with Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. And as promised, joining us now is Jenny Palmiato. Jenny is the clinical director and owner of the Family Guidance and Therapy Center of Southern California. She is also the creator and host of Love and Autism, a conference at Heart, which we're going to be getting into in a minute. The second one is going to be September 26th and 27th this year. And Jenny is the founder of the nonprofit One Day Tomorrow. Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you for having me back.
Well, it's good to have you here. And you are also you're a marriage and family counselor, are you not?
I am.
Okay, great. And Jenny, you took an interest in helping individuals and their families on the spectrum create loving and connected relationships that kind of led to this conference. How did you develop that interest? Where did that come from?
So, it's interesting. It started with a boy, and it kind of comes full circle. One of my college crushes got a job working at an autism agency, and I thought, geez, I'd like to work with him. So I went out to get the job. He didn't take it, but I found my real love.
Isn't that remarkable?
I've stayed, working with families and children on the spectrum for the last 15 or so years.
And you're an advocate for a change in regard to misconceptions. What are some of those misconceptions?
The damaging misconceptions are aplenty, but the ones that I really feel strongly about are those that suggest that people on the spectrum don't want and need love, and even more so that they're maybe incapable of love. And that is just very untrue. And people want and need and can have healthy and loving relationships across the lifespan, spectrum or not.
And so this is the second of these wonderful conferences that you're doing. Again, it's happening September 26th and 27th. And
In what area?
This is in San Diego, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we know we're going to talk about the wedding in just a minute. We've been talking a lot about that, but we don't want people to think that it's just a wedding. This is a conference. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the other things that are going on at the conference?
Yeah, so we have some great speakers that I'm extremely excited for. Dr. Stephen Shore will be joining us. He's a global ambassador, and now I consider him a dear friend. And he'll be speaking. David Finch, author of Journal of Best Practices, is going to also be joining us, and I think he's just going to have a great lighthearted and funny way of presenting his own views of love and autism. David Hamrick and Lindsay Neviker of the Tribeca Film Festival, Autism in Love, are joining us again. Last year, they were the people, after they spoke, the whole crowd was just in tears, and I walked out, hugged them, and said, I have to have you back. And they said, we'd love to be back. And who knows, they may be married themselves. They are an engaged couple, and we may get some new delightful news on that front.
We did not know that. How very exciting for them.
Yes.
Jenny, where would people go if they want to register for the conference and if they want to learn more?
Yeah, our website is loveandautism.com, and is spelled out. And you can find out more about the speakers. We've got we're vendored with Regional Center, which means that anyone in California can get some sort of stipend to go, and we can work with you to work with your case manager to help you figure that part out. And yeah, we've got both the wedding and the conference. So the conference is 12 and above. We actually pulled the ages down based on demand. Last year we had 15 and above, and people were like, you know what? My 12-year-old needs to be here. My 13-year-old needs to be here. And so it's 12 and above. We're planning it as an autism-friendly event, which means that we'll have a special room that we call the quiet room, and a special room that you can watch the conference, basically Skyped in, and also a loud room where if you need to be moving and chatting, and you can go there, or you could join us in the main conference hall. So yeah, we have lots of exciting things. We also have a mingle event that I'm particularly looking forward to, which is a lunchtime gathering on Sunday, and we're doing it kind of for the bride and groom. Many of the speakers will be joining us, and it's basically a time to mingle and talk and join the speakers for lunch in a really kind of intimate setting. We're doing kind of a picnic lunch, barbecue style, because the bride and groom are cowboys at heart.
Wonderful. So we should take a short
Yeah, and
break.
we'll get back and talk more about the wedding.
Yeah, but tell us one more time, what is the website?
It's loveandautism.com.
Okay, so we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to go in depth about this wedding, how this came about, and what it's like to be planning a wedding for people that you previously did not know, but it's very exciting. So stick with us. More of Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy after these messages. What do you think about ABA treatment?
ABA is the one that's documented, but I think that's what I think is important with little kids, the intensity. If this kid's 2, 3, and 4 years old, he needs 20 or 30 hours a week of intensive early intervention, working one-to-one with an effective teacher. And an effective teacher knows kind of how just hard to push, because you've got to stretch these kids. If you don't stretch them somewhere, they don't advance. You push on them too hard, they go into sensory shutdown. The worst thing you could do with an autistic 2-year-old is to do nothing with them and just let them sit there rocking. And when I was very young at 2.5, ABA type things were used on me, but it wasn't called ABA in that day. You know, my teacher would hold up a cup and she'd speak slowly. You got to speak slowly to these kids because there's auditory processing problems. She'd say cup, and then I'd say cup, and the teacher would praise me. You know, that's very similar to ABA. You know, ABA in its original form is a little kids program. The whole idea is you're trying to get language jump started. And I like the more flexible kinds of ABA. You've got different levels of kids. I had ABA type stuff when I was young, but then after I pulled out of it, I didn't have to go through elaborate things of getting ready for school. I still have this habit now today. I lay my clothes out the night before that I'm going to wear, so when I'm sleepy I can just get them on. And then you have other individuals where they've got to do very structured, breaking down the task analysis. This is where after you get out of the little kids and you get them talking, they kind of diverge into different levels of functioning. And a type of ABA program that'd be suitable for a very severe kid would not be something you'd want to do with a mild Asperger kid, because you're going to bore them to death and make them hate school.
Absolutely. Welcome back to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. We are so excited because with us via Skype we have Jenny Palmiato, and she is the mastermind behind a really wonderful, one-of-a-kind conference, the Love and Autism Conference. It's a conference with a heart. A conference at heart, excuse me. And one of the amazing things they're having at their second annual conference, they're having a wedding. So Jenny, talk to us a little bit about how did this come about? Did you find this couple or did they find you? What happened?
He found us. So Dr. Stephen Shore is very good friends with the bride and groom, and he said, I have a couple that you need to talk to that needs to be on this roster. And I said, well, have them send me an email. And so the subject of the email was, we have an epic romance. And this was in maybe September or October of last year. And so we signed Anita up as one of the speakers, and I was super excited for them. And then in December, she called me super excited and said, we just got engaged. And then there was a pause, and she said, I want to have my wedding at your conference. And I thought, well, that's a idea. Let's talk this further. It's a conference. And so when she actually gave me her 3 reasons, or what came to be 3 reasons, she just said, I really want the world to know that our love is no better or different than anybody else's love. It's just love. And then she said, I want every person on the spectrum to at least be invited to one wedding. And what I've realized since then in my getting to know the bride and groom is that both of them have not been invited to a wedding, and that this will be their first wedding. And so they really want others to experience the love and hopefulness that a wedding celebration brings. And the third reason she said is, you know, people think that people on the spectrum don't have emotions. I'm going to cry on my wedding day. People need to see this. And by the end of that conversation, I said, yes, let's plan a wedding. And so at first it was just kind of maybe a simple little maybe ceremony at the end of the day. And now it's a very legit wedding. And we came up with this fabulous idea of including all kinds of talented and passionate people on the spectrum. And so from start to finish, everybody involved will identify on the spectrum and be part of this huge celebration of love.
You even have a harpist on the spectrum.
Yes, and flower girls and ring
boys,
bearers.
yeah. Has Jem been to a wedding?
Jem actually has been in a wedding because when his therapist Peter Farrig got married, he got to be the ring bearer.
Wonderful. Is that his only wedding that he's?
No, that's like his fifth wedding.
Oh, Wyatt's never been to a wedding.
Really?
Never
Well,
been
see,
to
I
one.
drag my kid to everything and make people. I say to people, if he's not coming, I'm not coming.
Well, I would take Wyatt to weddings, but I can't even. I'm trying to think of weddings we were. I haven't been that many lately.
We had a series of them a couple of years
Yeah.
ago that, and so Jem was on the wedding circuit.
Okay.
We had three. We had three in one year. He had to
Yeah.
get the whole tuxedo and the whole
Right.
nine yards.
I'd
So
love for Wyatt to go to a wedding. That'd be
Jem
great.
thinks weddings are a great thing. He
Yeah.
wants to know this summer why we don't have any weddings to go
Okay.
to. So
This wedding will be super fun. Alex Plank is going to DJ the event, as well as
that.
stand up for the groom as his groomsmen. And that was really, Alex is a great guy, and he just said, hey, have you hired music yet? I'm going to do it.
and
Yeah.
Jem loves Alex. Has Wyatt gotten to meet Alex?
No,
Plank
he
yet?
hasn't yet.
Jem thinks that the sun rises and sets
Right.
in Alex because
Right.
he's just the coolest guy ever.
He is cool.
Ever. Yeah.
And Michael Tollison, who we just had on the show last week, who's going to do a live painting. It's
Amazing.
just so many wonderful, as you said, Dr. Stephen Shore officiating. So
Yes.
it's just a
He's
wonderful
best
thing.
friend with the bride and groom, and he decided to get his officiant license for the day and become a wedding officiant for this specific occasion.
And we should mention too that the toast for the couple is being given by
Temple Grandin.
Dr. Temple Grant.
Okay, so you've got some heavy hitters here.
Yes.
We have an A-list.
do.
A-list, A for autism. And so Temple is going to be doing a pre-recorded toast. And, she just reached out to Anita and said that this wedding is really important to the community because it means that people on the spectrum can have positive relationships. And so she and Anita arranged for this to happen. She already has an event that she's speaking at, but we found a way to include her. And it's going to be just fabulous. It will be really, really fun.
Well,
So Michael Tolson's going to be painting in the morning sometime, and then the bride and groom are going to get married underneath or in front of his huge masterpiece.
What time are you planning for the wedding ceremony to actually happen?
The wedding should start at 4:30.
On Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, on
All right.
Saturday.
Okay, and once again, where people can get information about this, because I think you're going to have a lot of interest.
Oh, I hope so. It really is a message that we need to share.
We agree.
It's so damaging that people don't believe this about people on the spectrum. So loveandautism.com.
loveandautism.com. Okay, we encourage everybody to attend this. It's going to be
Exciting event.
a really exciting event, and we, hats off to you, Jenny, for developing this conference, for coming up with, developing the idea, making it happen. It just sounds like it's going to be magical.
And the wedding is all ages. And so the conference and wedding, if you attend the conference, you obviously get to attend the wedding. But if you'd just like to come for the wedding portion and join us for that celebration, we have a special ticketed price for that.
Wonderful. So for all those people who have never been able to take their child to a wedding, this might be the one to take your child
Maybe.
to. Everybody's going to understand, and you're going to be at an amazing event that will fill you with all kinds of hope. But I really want to encourage people to be there for the conference as well. Really exciting things that you have going on, Jenny. And we are hopeful. The bride has reached out to us. We're hopeful to have the bride, possibly the groom, on the show as well as the days get closer to the actual wedding. But Jenny, we thank you for being with us. Thank you for this brilliant, wonderful idea.
We'll hope to see you guys down in San Diego with Wyatt and Jem and
Thank
the
you.
whole family. This is going to be a historic event.
Absolutely. All right, you take care.
Thank you, Jenny. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Really wonderful.
It's so fun. I love this
Weddings
idea.
are so much fun. I love them.
Yeah, I think we were invited to, actually it was a nighttime wedding, and then we knew the reception was going on and on and on, and we decided not to take Wyatt, but I would like to take him. And we actually have a funeral coming up. Have you ever taken Jem to? Besides a family funeral, of course, Wyatt has been to my parents' funerals.
Yes. Yeah, Jem went to my mother's, but no, he's not been to a funeral.
Yeah, I'm wondering about whether I should take Wyatt to this funeral, kind of talk to him about you know, those issues. It's interesting because, you know, I think some things that, well, you know, maybe with typical children, you wouldn't necessarily take them to a funeral of a dear friend. A woman in our church passed away that was a dear friend. And sometimes I think with, you know, typical 13-year-olds, you might not take them to a funeral because it's kind of tough.
I remember my mother taking me to a wake when I was 16 years old, and it was like the thing that I remember the most about my mom, because I didn't want to go, and she said, "Oh no, you need to go to this because I need to make sure that you know how to do this." My mother walked into the wake, and it was somebody who died suddenly. And so everybody was a mess. My mother walked in, worked the whole line, kept it all positive, hugged everyone, had her like 10 phrases that she said as she hugged everybody, was out in less than 10 minutes and in the car. And then that's when she had her cry. And she said to me, and that's how you do that. You don't go and make it about you.
Yes.
You go and you hug everyone
wonderful
and
advice.
be positive, and then you have your meltdown in the car, and you don't stay there forever. You get in, you get out, and I've always remembered that. It was one of the best lessons my mother ever gave me. Amazing. My mother was an amazing woman, but I don't think Jem. We'll see at 16. I think I was ready for it at 16, but I kind of think that might take
I'll
Jem a
probably
little
be
bit later.
leaving Wyatt at home for this coming up.
All right. But maybe the wedding. He
Maybe.
likes to dance, doesn't he?
He loves to dance.
Jem
yeah.
loves to dance.
Yeah.
All right. If there's and if Alex is being the DJ, we know there'll be good music.
It's going to be great music.
All right. See us there at the wedding on September 26th and 27th is the conference. We're going to take a break, and then Nancy and I are going to come back and talk a little bit about Inside Out. So stick with us. What do you think about the prevalence of autism, the rising number of prevalence, and what are your thoughts on what this world is going to be like with so many individuals on the autism spectrum?
I think a lot of the increase is just increased detection on the milder spectrum, but I think there is some severe autism that's increased. Older parents having children would be one factor. You know, lack of vitamins, like B vitamins prior to pregnancy, chemical insults, taking prescription drugs in the first trimester. There's a whole lot of little insults like this that can interact with susceptible genetics. I work in a technical field, and there's mild autism and Asperger's and dyslexics all over it. One of the best millwrights in the feedlot industry is severe dyslexic. He's one of the best millwrights that there is, and that builds complicated feed mills. And the thing that worries me is they've taken so many of the hands-on classes out of the school: cooking, sewing, woodworking, metalworking, auto shop. There's a lot of kids that are kind of different. They make great mechanics, and we have a shortage of mechanics right now. We have a shortage of engineers. I'm getting concerned that there's some smart kids that are kind of different, kind of getting a handicap label. Now, where the diagnosis really makes a difference is later on in life with their relationships. And the wife is wondering why the husband is not very demonstrative and, you know, not very lovey-dovey and emotional. And this is where getting a diagnosis can really help their marriage, because then the wife understands. See, that's where that kind of, when it comes to relationships, that's where the diagnosis can really, really make a difference. I think one of the problems today is sort of a more social society today. You know, the kid that was a little bit not too social before, he'd be out there in the auto mechanic shop, getting along great with the shop teacher, and they got rid of that kind of stuff. You see, I'm in a weird situation where I walk back and forth between the autism world and the sort of metalworking and cattle working kind of world. And there's farmers that I know that are on the spectrum, and they're doing great in farming.
So maybe it's not that they're not these kids actually do have a diagnosis then, but maybe the prevalence was there before?
Well, I think on the mild end, I think the prevalence is probably there. But I think there's severe autism that has increased. There's way too much sugar in the diet. We also have an omega-3 deficient diet in this country. We're not getting enough omega-3s. I think let's go back to the alternative things, fish oil supplements, some of the B vitamins, and lots of exercise. Kids are eating way too much sugar, and kids are not just getting enough activity. You know, mother used to say to me, go outside and run the energy out of you. Well, and kids aren't doing that today, so that makes the ADHD worse.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. And I promised that Nancy and I were going to talk a little bit about Inside Out.
Yeah, because you've got an exciting guest coming up.
Yeah, we have a new segment. You know, it all started with you, Miss Nancy.
It did?
It all started
How
with
did that
you.
start?
Yeah, because we were doing Autism Live and sort of chugging along, and an event happened. We were probably 6 months into the show. An event happened where a child went missing, and you contacted us and said, can I come on and talk about this? I've been doing it on some of the local news outlets. Can I come on and talk about this? So we started talking about this missing child, you and I together. We had such a good time, had such rapport, that you said you'd like to come back and do an hour
Right.
every week, and that we, you know, in that hour that you could talk about some of the things that Autism Care and Treatment today are doing. And it was really important to us that we wanted to have time to talk about a super important charity. And we thought it was fun that you and I had this wonderful chemistry,
Right.
which our viewers have said. Some of you call us the Lucy and
Which
Ethel.
we played Lucy
of
and
autism.
Ethel,
Yes.
as well as the two queens. Now
Yes.
we're kind of getting famous for our Halloween shows. We're getting kind of well known for those, our costumes, and boy, do we have a doozy this
Nancy's been hard at work, and I'm
I
just
have.
along for the ride.
No, you are not.
but-
You one up me last year.
No,
Your
enough with that. I
queen-
took
your
your
qu-
ideas.
Your Queen Elizabeth II was,
Whatever.
she outdid my
Whatever.
Queen Elizabeth I.
No, not at all. But in any case, so eventually, because of that, we said, wow, this is so great, partnering with a charity organization with autism. And eventually we said, you know, we want to expand to more. It has taken us several years, but we now have expanded and have added 3 more 501c3s to our ever expanding network because of what started with you.
And all
So-
of them are great friends of Act Today.
Yes, because you guys are the UN of autism.
We are. We love that.
So Taka, which is a wonderful, we show you a lot of different stuff. We'd already
Yes.
partnered in small ways with Lisa Ackerman, and she was doing the What's Left segment, the cooking segment, but now they're doing a regular monthly segment, talking with Taka, answering some of the questions that come in from Taka folks, talking
Right.
about some of the biomedical things. We've partnered with the Autism Society of America, who is having their 50th anniversary conference right now in Denver. We're going to be talking with them tomorrow.
And you have a wonderful host for that show.
Yes, Stephanie Schaefer,
She's
who
great.
was the winner of The Apprentice,
Yeah,
the last
she's a smart
non-celebrity.
cookie.
Oh my gosh, she's a lawyer but very smart cookie. So she does a segment, and this
She's the whole package. Beautiful, smart.
I will tell
yeah.
you, we'll give you a little preview that right now she's sitting in Denver interviewing Temple Grandin to be on the show. I'm going to give you more news about that. And we're going to split the interview between this month and next month, but
Okay.
and a whole host of other people. So that show is done with the Autism Society of America, and it's called The Future is Bright. And then the third piece to this is we're partnering with Autism Speaks, and Matt Asner is hosting a wonderful show called On the Spectrum with Matt Asner. That first episode will air on Monday morning. It will be noon Eastern Time. It will be 9 a.m. Pacific Time. And his very first guest is the producer of Inside Out, Jonas Rivera.
Great.
So he'll also have Nava Poskowitz on with him, his wonderful wife, talking about how they have found love, having a mixed blended family. family, 6 kids, 3 on the spectrum.
Their story is amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And I do hope that Matt will be having his dad on at some point. Who
Oh,
is,
of
you know,
course.
of course, I love
Of
his
course,
father.
we
I have a
love
crush.
Ed,
Yeah.
and Ed has a little crush on you.
Yeah,
Let's
so it's
be honest
mutual. Yeah,
about
we
that.
like to flirt.
Yes,
Yeah.
You like it when he says you got spunk, kid.
I make him say it to me.
And he loves saying it to you. Let's be honest about it. But in any case, but you and I both took our kids to see Inside Out.
Yeah.
Of course, this is Disney Pixar's most recent venture. It is the hit film of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I can see already, if you haven't seen it, you need to go see it, but I can see already where there is going to be a sequel.
Of course.
And I got to be honest, I think I am even more excited to see the sequel because I hope that Disney Pixar has heard from the autism community about how great it is that they have done a visual representation of
Emotions,
perspective
right.
taking and emotions and what it looks like inside your head and the fact that it looks different in somebody else's head. And I hope that they're going to go even further with that in the sequel.
Yeah,
I thought that this was lovely, but I can't wait to see where they go in the second one.
I agree. Yeah, Wyatt liked it. He there's some of the aspects of the film I think went a little over his head, but a lot of the core, messages of the movie did get to him. I mean, certainly he was out talking about the move that the young girl makes and how sad she is and the crisis in her young life because of that, the loss of the friend, the colors of the emotions, the way the emotions, and because we do a lot with him when he gets upset to show the 5 faces, the 5, the red, the anger, and I say, well, where are you now? And I'll say, how did you get there? And when, and then, when were you here? When you were frustrated, and couldn't you have talked to me about that? And what were you frustrated about?
Yeah.
We had that happen the other night, and because his 2 best friends are going on to, he's moving into 8th grade. Oh, I can't believe it. Yeah. And his 2 best friends are going to 9th grade to the high school. So his girlfriend and his friend Bassam are leaving. And he told me, he was very angry, couldn't get to the bottom of it. I got out the chart and I said, where are you? And he said, I'm really, really mad. And I said, what got you there? And can you tell me why when you were here? And he said, I don't want, my friends to go to high school. I don't want to go back to middle school because they're going to be gone.
And my question to you is, how much behavior were you seeing before you were able to have the conversation and identify the emotion? Was there? I imagine you were seeing
it was
stuff
a build
going
up.
on.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that when we give our kids a visual representation of things, I think it really greases things for functional communication at whatever level. Because let's face it, our kids all communicate at different levels, different ways. But that visual representation of it, and I think that this film is just going to help cement that.
Yeah.
And give parents a way of saying, here's a visual. There's somebody here at the office that already has the little figurines on her desk, the little emotions. And I'm sure she's going to start referring to it and holding one up, going, "This is how I'm feeling right now." Right. But I think it's going to change the way we language things for perhaps an entire generation. And the fact that there's a visual with it, I think, is great. Could we possibly talk too much about emotions?
No,
especially with our kids.
With our kids, I was amazed at just how taking the face chart out and going into that conversation with him helped him process.
Yes.
It was astounding to me how quickly it brought him down. And then I said, but look at what it says you can do when you get to yellow and green before you get to red. What are some of the things you could do? He said, I can go to my room, I can breathe, I can talk to you.
So where did you get this chart that has those things that
I
says...
got it from his supervisor, his card supervisor.
All right, well, we might have to talk to her to see if we can make that available to
him.
everybody. Excuse me, Alex.
Yeah,
I
we
know
should
that.
talk about it. I can bring it in and show you.
Okay, I'd love to.
Yeah.
I think that'd be useful. Maybe we can share it with people.
Yeah.
In any case, we are out of time. I want to thank you. I want to thank our fabulous guest, Jenny Palmietto. I want to thank Dr. Grandpa Schaefer for being with us earlier. Want to let you know that tomorrow we are having Stephanie Schaefer live on the show from the Denver conference, the Autism Society of America. It's their 50th anniversary. She's with us. We may even have Temple Grandin tomorrow.
that
I
would be
don't
so
know.
exciting.
We're waiting to hear. But at some point we will have, Stephanie is interviewing her, but a lot of great guests from that conference tomorrow. And then we are also having Dorothea Lerman, who is a brilliant, brilliant doctor, who's going to be talking with us about how do we train the next generation of teachers to be able to deal with autism in the community. She's an expert at this. It's
That's
amazing.
great. They better get ready.
We're totally out of time, but
Tidal wave is
please,
coming.
until tomorrow, give your kiddos a hug from me.
And yourselves a hug from me. See you next week.
Bye-bye for now.